Welcome back to our channel. Thank you for joining us in another informative discussion on fashion, on industry updates, and digital strategy for influencers and for brands. Because we are going to do or rather, we are diving into the current state of luxury and what's happening, why things are on a downturn in terms of sales and revenue. What are the things that contributed to this situation? How are brand reacting to this? And how are fashion influencers going to be affected by all of these things that is happening with the brands? And what are the repercussions on their careers, on their futures? Because this is not going to be an easy year for influencers. Let's now talk about how are fashion influencers affected by this. Kasi definitely, the likes of Kelsey Merritt, the likes of Rose Casahe, the likes of Evangelista, these are going to be affected. Yung kanilang brand of influencing is going to be affected by all of these changes. Now, here's something that, although it is a gut feel from me, I feel that there is a huge gap between the can afford the luxury versus those who cannot afford luxury. Okay? So because of that, there is going to be a pushback by the general public on luxury goods spending. What does this mean? Tagalogin natin. Ibig sabihin po nito, yung mga cannot afford ng mga luxury items na to because either pagkamahal-mahal and then it is exacerbated by high inflation in the countries. It is, even made worse by the dollar, exchange rate. Pwedeng magkaroon ng negative emotions or negative reaction ang mga taong hindi kayang bumili at nakikita that these influencers are flaunting, their access and their excess, with the luxury goods in terms of yung kanilang social media presence. So, if you are a you're a luxury goods influencer, there is a shift in mindset for a lot of audiences that will feel that because of kung gaano kahirap ang buhay ngayon, ayaw nila na ipamukha mo sa kanila yung yaman na meron ka at yaman na wala sila. Okay? So there is going to be a pushback on that. Saan ka lulugar bilang luxury goods influencer? Okay? So, you need now to pivot your content in such a way that you focus on storytelling, you focus on styling, you focus on longevity of the merchandise, the luxury goods that you have, and how you make sure that itong mga bagay na to na binili mo, na meron ka, is styled in so many ways so that people will see that kaya pala worth it bumili ng luxury is because pangmatagalan ang gamit. And you are able to justify the high costs with multiple use. Kaya ang cost per wear ng item na binili mo bumababa, it goes quite low because you are keeping on repeating the item and making sure that people see it. Okay? Because that is going to happen when the pushback on luxury becomes, almost violent on social media, that people will be calling you out that sa hirap ng buhay ngayon, imbes na gamitin mo yung milyones mo na magmayabang, makatulong ka man lang sana sa kapwa mo. There is also what we call a follower fatigue or influencer fatigue, where people are now craving for real value and not aspirational lifestyle that they can never achieve. This is where I believe, again, a perfect example dito is Evangelista, where she not only endorses and showcases her lifestyle that is really far off from the regular Filipino lifestyle, but also finds ways to lower down and connect with the masses. Okay, so ano bang ginawa ni Heart lately na nagiging masa yung pakiramdam ng ginagawa niya? What she did lately is to have a endorsement or a brand partnership with SM. Together with her sister, Camille Ongpauco, she had a SM Beauty na collaboration where she finds, mga products that is accessible to a larger, masses that is able to buy this merchandise, buy these products, para hindi masyadong disconnected siya yung kanyang alta na lifestyle with the people who are able only to buy, small luxuries out of life. Aside from that, she also still has a partnership with Avon where a lot of us are able to access Avon on our own. If you look at the influencing career, the influencer, path that Catriona Gray followed after her, after her Dior Beauty, suddenly you've seen her with H&M, you see her with Cetaphil. Actually, it's Cetaphil pala, hindi Cetaphil. Okay, so for the longest time, I thought it was Cetaphil. Okay, so you had H&M, you have Cetaphil, and then she had a home partnership. I forgot the which brand. And then she also has mga gulong as part of her as part of her brands. And then she also had cream silk. So if you look at the brands that she endorses, very democratic yung kanyang mga choices. May alta like Dior, but at the same time, H&M and all of these other brands, they are very accessible. They are very FMCG to the point. And ito yung sinasabi kong isa sa mga missed opportunities ng isa pang beauty queen. Okay? The FMCG market, even if you are tagged as you are an FMCG na consumer, it should not be offensive to you because FMCG is actually the area of the market na kahit hindi ganun kalaki ang purchasing power, but because of their numbers, kayang tumapat doon sa mayayaman sa luxury goods sector ng mga market. Dahil let me explain, okay? There are tiers in terms of the markets. There are the bottom, the middle, and the top. Yung mga nasa top, sila yung mga mayayaman talaga, the AB market who can afford luxury goods. They are the 1% and the 10% of the population that are the most wealthy in the country. Then there is the middle market, the FMCG market, who may not have the same hindi sila ganun ka taas ang kanilang purchasing power, but because of their sheer number, they are able to move merchandise off the shelves because of their sheer number. And when you add up yung kanilang buying capacity, kaya nilang pumantay doon sa 1%, 10% of the at the top of the population. Okay? So this is why the FMCG, pag sinabi kong FMCG ang market ng influencer na to, sana hindi tayo na-offend because that is not a slight, that is not an insult, but rather that is a reality that this is the market that a lot of brands want to capture dahil malaki ang opportunities na to serve this market. And because this market is huge in terms of number of population, you can create niche brands for segments within this entire huge chunk of market. What does the luxury influencers have to do with the FMCG market? That is, if you have a alta lifestyle, you have a luxury lifestyle, and you want to appear more grounded, that you want to be liked not only from the upper 10% but also to the FMCG market, itawid mo yung markets na yon. And how do you do that? Okay, so case in point, another example, nabanggit ko na si Catriona. She has Dior Beauty, which is quite high in terms of the brand premium. Kahit na beauty lang yan, kahit na mga makeup, perfumes, cosmetics, ang Dior, ang mga products under beauty, it is still Dior. And Dior is still considered one of the high-end luxury labels all over the world. And then what other merchandise does or brands that Catriona endorses? Nandyan ang nandyan ang H&M. Ang layo ng Dior in terms of price point. Because when you think Dior, you're not necessarily just thinking of the 800 pesos or 500 pesos na lipstick. You're also thinking the 15,000 worth na mga t-shirts or mga jackets. And then you have a very democratized brand like H&M na kahit may kamahalan siya dito sa Pilipinas, it's still accessible to a wide variety of Filipinos. So that is what I mean about pag ang luxury influencer or an influencer for that matter, kayang itawid yung alta at saka yung masa together. Another case in point is when Heart Evangelista endorses pure foods corned beef na magpo-post siya on her social media na nagluluto siya ng pure foods pero she's decked with unsigned na mga diamante sa buong katawan niya. And when I say unsigned, this is something that that not a lot of people understand, because when you say unsigned jewelries, these are jewelries that are created by independent na mga designers, independent na mga mga craftsmen and jewel smiths that is not part of a larger brand. And imagine kasi ganito yan, bakit kadalasan lahat ng mga ginagamit ni Heart are unsigned na mga jewelries when endorsing mga ng mga pure foods, ganyan, ng mga easily accessible na mga FMCG na products. That's because she doesn't need to be embroiled in the situation that some brands, especially high-end brands, have a clause in their in their agreements or contracts that ayaw nilang associate sa mga brands that are pangmasa. May mga ganun kasing mga brands. Another thing that luxury goods influencers can do is to expand yung brand partnership mo to include mga vintage na mga luxury good items. You can also expand yung partnership mo with local designers, local Filipino designers that has the premium aesthetics, and then make it accessible to the larger na mga masses, to the larger masa na crowd. Kasi there are designers na nakakabit yung pangalan nila sa kanilang label, and then there is a premium na premium na line for their name, and then there is a more accessible na line. So, ano yung ibig sabihin nun, sir? Pwede kasi na merong pasadya ang mga designers, and then they also have a boutique where they sell RTW na mga items under their own label. So, like for example, Raco Laurel. Raco has his own RTW line, and then he also does, mga made-to-measure na mga garments for a select few clientele. Not all of us may not be able to access Raco Laurel's, made-to-measure, mga pasadya na mga damit, but there is a larger number of the general Filipino populace who can probably go to his boutique, find something that is, fit for their bodies and accessible based on their budgets na pwede nilang bilhin. So that is what I mean about having local brand partnerships. When it comes to, the future of luxury, especially this year, the influencer economy is evolving, and it's no longer about selling a product or, being able to, to convince people to sell. Kasi, we have seen someone do that. We've seen Catriona, sell out an outfit sa H&M last year. Of course, Heart Evangelista is the best example of moving merchandise, out from the shelves and into the pockets of the consumers. So, if that is no longer enough, what makes influencing enough for the brands? And this is where you establish a community. That community is there to support you in every aspect, in every way that is relevant to fashion, that is relevant to your lifestyle, that is relevant to the brands. And this is where brands, would value influencers that bring back what they invest on the influencers. Kasi nowadays, it will not be enough that you only post about the brands only when it is convenient for you. You need to establish a relationship with the brand that you are not only posting about them because an item is loaned to you or an item is lent to you for for social media posting, but you also believe in the ethos, in the principles, in the values of the brand, and you reinvest back to them what they invest on you. And this is where it becomes a relationship, when it becomes reciprocal yung relationship nyo with the brand. And I hope that kapulutan to ng aral ng mga influencers natin, because the influencer sphere is going to be more tough in the coming months ahead. Brands are trying everything that they can do in terms of this creative designer rigodon that has been happening since last year, because that is one of the easiest way to to call this to shake up this industry that is in decline in terms of sales. So we're hoping that in the next 6 months, 9 months, even we will see that influencer marketing, the careers of the likes of Kelsey Merritt, Catriona Gray, and then of course Heart Evangelista, and with Rose Kasahe in the mix, they would still have a steady steady careers through the ups and downs of this industry. So we're hoping na yung mga Filipino influencers natin manatili yung kanilang mga careers and that they are able to soar through. And I am hoping na hindi lang sila yung mag-succeed, because I am also looking at the likes of Kylie Verzosa, who has been very in the up and up lately in terms of her in terms of her social media content, in terms of her business, Sola, with her El Singapore na feature, and now she just recently went in Coachella. So I think we need to support yung mga influencers that bring value into what they do, and not just be blind that numbers is everything that matters. No, it's the quality of that numbers that matters nowadays. It's not the high numbers, but it's the quality of those numbers that you bring into the table.